Hey there, my name is LexC and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I'm doing something a little different. I don't typically do this format, but I wanted to go ahead and hop on what is trending right now, which is Amerie and her ability to sing one of her most iconic songs called One Thing. Now, she went viral maybe like a month ago at this point, at the time of this recording. There were some people who had some things to say about her performance at the Tiny Desk that she did. And she got into the song One Thing, and some people said that she was struggling. Other people said, yo, leave her alone. That's Amerie. And I wanted to go ahead and hop on this and see, if I can help y'all to sing the song for yourself, since everybody has such an interest in this all of a sudden.
Ow! Arrested, baby.
If you're anything like me, then you have been hearing this song for probably like over 10 years at this point, and it is one of those Amerie songs, like probably her most iconic songs, but it is one of those songs of hers that's just like so much high energy, and it's R&B, but it's got like this jazzy swing to it and the live instrumentation, and it's just such a feel-good record. And this was a very difficult record to sing back then. So singing it this day and age in 2025, and I don't even know when the original came out, but it is a very challenging song back then. And Amerie, I don't know how old she is, but we do, as we get older, our voices change, and the way that we're able to approach different songs changes. So in defense of Amerie, I haven't seen the Tiny Desk performance, but I've been seeing the commentary all over social media about what she sounds like. And now there are videos of her performing live and proving to the audience like, hey, I can sing this song a cappella, y'all just don't know. But in Amerie's defense, I do want to say that as we grow and as we age, our voice changes. Probably the best example or the earliest example that we get of this is when we hit puberty, especially when it comes to boys. The voice gets deeper, a little bit more bass, you know what I'm saying? The voice starts cracking, the vocal cords are changing and everything. And then as we begin to get older, we're not necessarily able to hit the same notes that we were before unless we have been practicing, unless we have been keeping our vocals in tip-top shape for a very long time. Somebody that I want to bring into the conversation is Beyonce. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there are a few songs from her early years in the industry when she was hitting these ridiculous, crazy high notes. And if you see some of the videos that she's been posting on her tours, like Renaissance, and I think now is Cowboy Carter at the time of this recording, you'll notice that she has pitched down a lot of those songs, or she has adapted them in a way that makes it easier for her to sing live at her shows, and makes it easier to blend with everything else. And it's not so much of a vocal strain at this age. Whereas it might have been easier when she was a younger singer, a younger artist, her voice changes over time. I think even with women, right, after we have kids, I don't know the science on this, so don't quote me, but after we have kids, our voice changes, those hormones, like everything changes, everything has its cycles. And even with Beyonce, who is vocally athletic all year round, arguably, I would like to say anyway, she has made the decision to pitch down some of those songs. So I want y'all to get off of Amerie's back. It's been years since maybe she's performed this song. I'm not sure what she's up to this day and age, but I will say that I love Amerie, and that is her song One Thing, along with some other great records that she had. Big, iconic, trend-setting for the time that it was in. And I really hope that she's getting an uptick in streams and sales with this song. And I hope that she's getting an uptick in performances and being invited to perform, because she's always been a great performer. Maybe not, and it's subjective, right? But maybe not the best vocalist, maybe not the strongest vocalist, but she is iconic. She is a legend in her own right. And she set a lot of trends back then. A lot of people tried to duplicate that sound. You'll even see that Beyonce had that whole jazzy, upbeat, live instrumentation feel to her record. So that's a whole nother conversation, but I really just want to get into how can we sing this song? Now, I will say that this is a very vocally challenging song. And this is not something that I would expect even Amerie to be able to sing years later, because it is so vocally challenging. These riffs and these notes that she's hitting, this is something that I would expect someone to have been practicing for at least 2 weeks. But honestly, I would say I give it a month to practice this song and really get the vocals physically capable and physically conditioned enough to effortlessly hit these notes. There's a lot of technique going on here, I think, or at least I'm going to show you some techniques to either be able to hit these notes or move around it and sing around it so that it still sounds good and you still keep the integrity of the song. I think it's really interesting too that I'm singing with this corporate band now, and at one of the practices, there's one of the songs that we have to sing. It's Flowers by Miley Cyrus. And, you know, when I'm not feeling like hitting those high notes, I will sing around certain things. There's also Respect by Aretha Franklin. I'm not always vocally able to hit these high notes, and I don't always feel like hitting the high notes because my voice gets a lot more quickly these days. And unfortunately, I'm not exercising it the way that I'm supposed to. That's another conversation. But there was another singer in there who asked me like, yo, Lex, how are you? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are those notes that you hit? And I couldn't even tell her. It's just, I guess, something that comes naturally to me where I'm able to find where I fit in and make it my own. So let's do the same thing with Amerie. Now, first, what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of go through playing the song, and I'm going to sing it a cappella, and then I'm going to try to explain to you what I'm doing vocally to allow myself to hit those notes. And then I'm also going to try to remember, all right, if I was in a situation where I didn't feel like hitting these notes, what else would I do to still maintain the vocal integrity and energy of the song? So I have Amerie's One Thing pulled up on YouTube, which is on my computer right here. And one thing that I always want to make sure I have when I am getting into the vibe, when I am getting to work, is Magic Mind, which is a mental performance shot that gets me ready, gets me in the vibe. It takes away my stress. It gets my mind sharper. It gives me calmer energy, and it makes me really believe in myself. And it makes me feel like I can tackle the world, you know? Not that this is Adderall, but if anyone out there has ever taken Adderall, I would say that this feels like a more natural version of that. And with better ingredients that's actually found in nature. I don't know how Adderall is made, but I know that with Magic Mind, there are a lot of natural and organic ingredients like ashwagandha, lion's mane mushroom, bacopa monieri, green matcha, and just a bunch of nice things that are sourced from all over the world to give us this little green concoction of energy and mental sharpness with subtle sweetness. And one thing we're going to lock in. And when you need to lock in, take a shot of Magic Mind. You can go to www.magicmind.com/LexMay for 20% off of your order so that you can lock in and ease your mind and perform better. Because when we are in the right place mentally, we're able to do everything else. Everything flows from there. So I've already taken my shot, and I'm ready to tackle this song by Amerie. So let's get into it. Oh, okay. Okay, so right off the bat, there's this introduction part where she's doing oh, 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 and then she's gonna start going into her verse. So if I could try to explain how I am hitting those notes, because I'm not doing falsetto just yet, I am using my full voice, and Amerie is using a mixture of I don't know how to explain it. It's not exactly a falsetto, but she is like belting very high notes. So even in the beginning, in the introduction of this song, oh, oh. When I'm imagining myself singing this part, I imagine that I'm doing a kind of a lifting and a lowering of, if I could imagine a ball in my throat, it's oh, oh. And when that I am narrowing my airway passages to hit that. So when I allow my passages to be wider, I envision like an egg or a ball or like a big gulp. That sensation you get of your throat opening up, that is me envisioning a wider throat. When my airways are widened, that is allowing for deeper notes, more airflow. But when the airflow is restricted and it's tightened to a tighter airway, it's making a sharper sound, a more high-pitched sound. So that's what I'm doing with my voice. So if I could kind of illustrate with my hands, oh, oh, oh. And you'll notice that I'm also lifting my body, physically rising up and down. If I was standing, I would probably be doing a similar motion, but oh, 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 oh. So there's really two ways we could be doing this. And I just want to make sure that I'm not like doing too much on my microphone because I feel like I'm singing this very loudly. But there's two ways you can approach it. Either that mixture of a really high belty or a deep belty. So when I'm doing na 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 oh na 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 oh, that is the same note, but it's kind of like a different energy that's going on, right? It's deeper. The pitch is the same, but it's more powerful, and I'm pushing more air in my vocal. My airway is more wide. Na 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 oh, versus na 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 oh, na 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 oh. You'll even notice the way that I'm holding my mouth. It's kind of a smile between this high one, na 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 oh, and the na 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 oh. So again, it's reinforcing that idea of I can hit the same notes, but doing different things. Now, if you don't want to hit that high note, na 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 oh, na 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 oh, na 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 oh, you can play around with. If I had to describe it, it's me thinking in my head, what different kind of harmonies could I sing right here? What still works with the key and the scale of this song? I'll substitute some of those notes in to achieve the same energy, the same vocal performance without losing the vibe. You know what I'm saying? So now let me listen to what she's doing in the verse and I will try to explain what's happening there. Oh, now this song is one that I would highly recommend that you stand up for. And I'm just going to go through the first verse and the hook. I'm not even going to go through the whole thing because it's very vocally demanding. I don't want to embarrass myself. And y'all going to be talking about me the way y'all been trying to talk about Amerie. But remember, that's our girl. We love Amerie. But if I had to make recommendations, you should use your entire voice to sing this song because it's going to demand mustering of all the energies to make sure you're able to hit these notes. Let me turn my microphone down. I don't want to blast y'all's ears, but the very first note, let me try to sing it myself actually. Oh, been trying to let it go, trying to keep my eyes closed, trying to keep it just like before. Times where never even thought to speak. Don't want to tell you what it is. Oh, we felt so serious. Got me thinking just too much. I want to set it off. But okay, so even me right now, I don't feel like hitting those high notes. I can do it, but it is very vocally demanding, very vocally challenging. So she's coming right out the gate. Oh, been trying to let it go. Oh, been trying to let it go. There are a few different approaches that you can take with this. You can do that falsetto. Oh, been trying to let it go. Trying to keep my eyes closed. Trying to keep it just like before. The times we've never even thought to speak. The times we never even thought to speak. Falsetto does work in this instance, but for me, when you're switching from a falsetto to a more full voice, a more full usage of your voice, you are losing the power, and in my opinion, you are losing the energy. Sometimes you are not going to get the same emotion when you are doing a falsetto as you would if you were belting, if you were really just pushing that air out, right? I'm sorry if there's like any extra noises from the microphone. I'm trying to make sure I don't like do too much, and I'm not trying to peak on my computer because I'm recording my audio through Pro Tools. But when we're singing falsetto, it still works with the song, but in my opinion, it does lose the energy when you're not pushing as much, when you're not giving as much through the body. So vocally, it is really great to help preserve your vocals if they're just too tired or you just don't feel like getting up there and you want to feel a little bit more confident. I would say go falsetto with this first one. Oh, been trying to let it go, trying to keep my eyes closed. I'm a little off. Trying to keep it just like before. The times we never even thought to speak. Don't want to tell you what it is. Ooh, we felt so serious. Got me thinking just too much. I want to set it off, but... Now, the thing to remember with falsetto is just because you are hitting a lighter note does not mean that you don't still need the same support. So make sure you're still taking in plenty of air the same way that you would if you were doing it in more of a full voice. But you want to keep in mind that because you are narrowing your airways in a sense to do this head voice, you do have to be very mindful of how you are controlling that flow of air. Singing, all it is manipulating how air escapes your body, essentially. At least that's how I like to think of it. I like to envision like a saxophone or a flute or something. When you are pushing air through that instrument, how that instrument is shaped and how that instrument moves and how those airways are allowed to be, that's going to determine the kind of sounds you get, the kind of pitches, the kind of notes you get. So that's the visualization that I keep in my head. Your entire body, our entire body is an instrument. That's why any little thing that you do affects the performance of your instrument. What you're eating, how much sleep you got, if you are sore, if you are tired, if you are not exercised, all of those things contribute to the performance of your instrument and how you are pushing that air out of your instrument, how you are manipulating that air. So falsetto, sorry if I'm taking too long with the explanations. I just really want to give y'all certain details and visualizations to help you hit these notes. Now, if I'm doing more full voice, and y'all please excuse me, I have not practiced this song at all. I felt like doing the video and here we are doing it. Oh, been trying to let it go. Been trying to let it go. I notice for myself when I'm singing this song that I'm maintaining a very narrow airway because it is helping me to hit that note. Technically speaking, like technique wise, this is probably not the best way to hit the note. It's probably not the healthiest way. It is possible, but I feel like the way that I'm singing it is something that should be practiced so the vocal cords are more comfortable to hit this. But I'm able to hit it just because I can understand how to get the sound out for myself. I don't necessarily recommend this to y'all, but just explaining again what I'm doing to achieve this sound. Now, this is my full voice singing, and I am keeping a narrow airway. Oh, been trying to let it go, trying to keep my eyes closed, trying to keep it just like before. Wait. Times we never even thought to speak. So very high, right? Very high notes. Rest in peace to anybody that has headphones on. I'm so sorry. But I'm belting out and I'm using a mixture of, again, manipulating my airway to be wider and to be more narrow. It's going from wide to narrow, wide to narrow. And that's how I'm able to achieve this sound. If I did not feel like singing this, which you can tell I don't right now because I didn't even finish singing out the verse just now, right? But if I did not want to hit these notes or I wasn't feeling comfortable hitting these notes right now, how would I navigate and find something around it? Oh, don't be trying to, oh, been trying to let it go. Oh, been trying to let it go. Trying to keep my eyes closed. Trying to keep it just like before. The times we never even thought to speak. Don't want to tell you what it is. Oh, we felt so serious. Got me thinking just too much. I want to set it off. But that would be one example of how I might do this. Let me see if I can. Oh, been trying to let it go. Trying to keep my eyes closed. Trying to keep it just like before. The times we never even thought to speak. Don't want to tell you what it is. Oh, we felt so serious. Got me thinking just too much. I want to set it off. But that's one thing that got me tripping. So I don't have a great explanation for that. But what I will tell you is I will lower the register. I will come a few steps down to something that is more manageable for me to sing. So still doing full voice, but I'm not narrowing my airways when I do that. I'm allowing my airways to stay open and relaxed, which ideally you want your vocal cords to be in a relaxed state when you are singing. The injuries and the cracks, it comes from stressing our vocal cords, straining them. And it also comes from not having enough air to support the notes that we want to hit. So we're not sourcing the air properly. We're not properly manipulating our vocal cords to do it in a comfortable way. And that's what's happening here. So just try to find something that is, comfortable for you. It's still within the key and the scale of the song, but it's just not as much of that pushing and that narrowing like I was doing before. So now to get into the hook. So now the same thing. You can do this falsetto. Yeah, it's this one thing that got me tripping. 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 Now this part is also very, very challenging. I don't even want to sing the whole thing, and also I'm a little nervous because what's the name just came home, so I don't want to be too loud. But with this one, I'm using a mixture of that narrowing airway at the top of my throat, as well as sourcing breath from the bottom to hit those notes and to get that pushed out. Again, I would prefer to sing it with more power because that is going to give me the most energy in the song. And when you are performing something outright on stage in front of people, you want people to feel that energy. It is also possible to get that same energy with a falsetto, but in my opinion, it doesn't have that same effect. It's not as effective as if we were pushing and belting those notes out. So my final thoughts on this, we should not be so judgy of Amerie, especially if she hasn't sang that song in a while, and it's something that it is a very vocally demanding song. It was over 15 years ago, and the entire thing is vocally challenging. So really what she did, and you'll see in the Tiny Desk performance, I was seeing clips of it online as well, where she was also trying to find her way around the notes because maybe they were not as comfortable as they used to be when she first hit it. And, you know, a lot of times, sometimes artists will do things in the studio that is very, very hard to replicate on stage. So we do also have to keep that in mind, which is why, as an audio engineer, when I'm working with people, I will try to get y'all to do things that make sense for a live performance. A lot of you think that you are not going to have to be on stage. You're not going to have to do anything live. But in my opinion, we should always be doing things as if it will last in every stage of its conception, you know? So when we're in the studio, I don't want you writing lyrics that are overlapping. I don't want you writing lyrics that are, you know, naturally out of your range that you can't do in one long strain, one long breath if you're out on stage somewhere. So the way that you write and the way that you perform it in the studio, you should be able to take that from the studio to a live situation and be able to do it. So that is something that I will caution people with, is make sure that if you are an artist and you're listening to this video, as I would anticipate a lot of you are, make sure you are writing your songs and singing your songs in a way that will translate easily between studio version and live version. People want to know that you can sing your songs in studio the same way that you would live, and they want to know that the person that they've heard for so long, that this is actually you. People are blown away by your talent. Don't set yourself up for failure by making yourself do something so impossible and then you're over manipulating it in the studio. And then when you get to a live setting, people are wondering, is this the same artist? I want to say that maybe somebody like Music Soul Child also had this issue not long ago, where he was not sounding like the songs that we knew him to be singing for all of these years and years. And it was a shock to people. It was like, wow, I paid all this money to come see you and you don't even sound like the record. You can take liberties when you're singing live, but for the most part, people just want to know that what you sound like live is what they've heard in the studio. And to match those two things up, it truly is something very beautiful. So I hope this explanation of some of the ways that you might be able to hit the same notes that Amerie did in her studio version of one thing compared to her live version of it, I hope you found some of these tips helpful. And if not, I hope I opened your eyes to some different ways that you can approach more challenging songs. You can take different registers, you can move the notes up and down. As long as you're staying within the pitch, within the scale of the song, I think you'll be just fine, and I think you'll do great. So props to my girl Amerie, and I might go back and watch that Tiny Desk performance. I might do a reaction. Let me know if that's something y'all want to see, and leave it in the comment section down below. But that's all I got for y'all today. Are you gonna try to use any of these techniques that I've explained to you? Are you going to practice this song? Maybe you have to do it live, or maybe you just want to learn it for the fun of it. Let me know in the comment section down below. And again, make sure, if there's only one thing that you do to get your mind right, try Magic Mind. This little mental performance shot will help you to feel like you can take on any task. magicmind.com/LexMay for 20% off of your order. And that's just that on that. That was the last thing I had And thank y'all so much for tuning in today. My name is LexC. Until next time, peace. Random.